Avengers! Assemble.
Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This week on the podcast, we have Hoffman, Zaberwolf, Kyle Crunk, and myself, Into182. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you like the content, leave us a comment below, let us know what you think. I'm gonna bring the guys right in, give them a big hello. Yo, yo, yo.
What's dots up, on your forehead.
Hello.
Bento.
Hello.
What's going on, Bento?
Oh my god, my light. How are we?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm good. I found the most amazing. Am I muted?
No, I was.
No,
sorry.
I was saying, hey, Finto, and then I was muted.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I
I'm
found.
muting myself now. Hold on a second.
I found the most amazing little like lo-fi Avengers song, which I'm gonna play at the start of the stream. It's amazing. It's gonna be our new intro. This is officially the first time it's happening.
Avengers.
Lo-fi is a vibe, bro.
Lo-fi Avengers. Lo-fi is a big vibe,
dude. Like lo-fi remixes of stuff that you already like. Can't go wrong with. That's like a lo-fi playlist I've been using lately. Is a bunch of like awesome songs that are just remixed into a lo-fi sound.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, how was the week?
Oh man, it was good. It's a good week whenever we get like a new comic book series that drops on like HBO and stuff. So
it was a mixed week. If you're gonna ask me, if you're gonna talk about Book of Boba at all,
We definitely will talk about Book of Boba because I think it was a bit of a spicy episode, I must say. So
not for any good reasons.
No, definitely not. Very, very talked about episode on the internet, but for all the wrong reasons, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I've only seen the first episode of Peacekeeper. So, yeah, I can talk about the first episode. If you guys have seen all three, I suppose I don't really mind spoilers that much. So,
let's call it the Peacemaker.
Is it
a Peacekeeper?
Oh, did I? Sorry. Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We'll get there. We'll get there. This is the first episode.
Sorry, John Cena. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So we'll talk about that, and then if we have any other nerdy news from the week. What do you want to kick into first, guys?
Let's get Boba out of the way, bro, because like I don't want to be sitting on it. There's too much energy. Earlier or yesterday, me and Finto like cut a little video for the main YouTube channel for our thoughts. So I first want to hear Kyle and Alex's takes on Boba and what happened in episode 3.
So episode 3, like I wasn't around much for the Book of Boba talk the past 2 episodes, so I'll just quickly summarize those 2 episodes with I didn't have any problems with them. I thought it was a little weird that the episode was majority like dream state. And I was like, come on, let's get into the nooks and crannies of this because I don't want it to be like the last episode is current time and then that leads into whatever. Then we get to this episode, right? I don't know who's writing this and who's approving this.
John Favreau wrote this episode. Let that sink in. Let that sink in for a minute.
To get his hand slapped. He's got CTE, brain damage or something. Those colorized motorbikes that are supposed to look like old choppers or old Harleys or something,
Vespas
and the edgy kids that ride them, and the idea that Boba Fett, the famous bounty hunter, would need their help at all just tastes like a cup of ocean water. I don't like it. It's disrespectful to the franchise. I don't know what they're doing. It's kind of weird. It's super out of place, and even in like the chases with those motorbikes, it feels strange.
It was some of the worst Star Wars I've ever seen. Like,
it really was.
Yeah, like the more I think about it, the more I hate it. You know, just like the Vespas, the whole scene where they were doing the chase looked like I could have shot it better on my iPhone using a couple of extras that I found on the street. You know, it baffled me. It absolutely baffled me at how bad that scene was. And just the disrespect that Black Chrysanthemum got, and just how overpowered Boba appears to be. Even without his armor, he's able to withstand like pressure from a Wookiee and all this stuff, and it just doesn't
By
add
the way,
up,
the
like.
most gangster Wookiee, that is one thing I'll give this show credit for. That is the most gangster Wookiee we've ever seen.
He's a
Maybe ever
badass,
will
bro. Badass.
He's a G.
Yeah, Black
Except for the
Chrysanthemum's
run,
been through a lot.
run they gave him. I'm sorry to.
Oh,
interrupt
the
that,
run,
but
I
run
know,
that-
dude.
When they tell him he's free and he just jogs off, I was like,
I
bro,
was
you
like,
went from
oh,
so
God.
gangster to like you just lost so much street cred. You should have walked off. Come
It
on.
was awful, dude. It
was
was
bad.
awful. I agree.
Yeah,
So bad.
I can't remember who directed the second episode, but they did a much better job than Robert Rodriguez has been doing these past, like, because he did both the first and third episodes of directing. And you can definitely tell the difference because it just doesn't feel as comfortable and as Star Wars as we want it to be. And it didn't fit properly, especially with the bright colors that you see on those like bikes, and that really like felt out of place. Everything else was a bit drab, gloomy in certain cases, and it looked like an episode until you saw that brightness, and then you're like, what is this garbage? Like, we're not that far into the future. I understand that people will take care of their vehicles, but come on. In Tatooine,
This is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So technically, it's way in the past. So
And like I get it. Like, there's supposed to be like hot rod George influence, or George Lucas is always influenced by like hot rod culture. Like, we had the whole pod racing scene, and even those, which are like big race cars that people like spend a lot of money on, people bet a lot. Even those aren't like fixed up and looking chromed out or whatever. Those are run down.
Yeah,
looking
scraps,
scratch marks. Yeah, they just look beat up, and so it's like you just get these, four things that just stick out so hard. And I think Alex nailed it. It's Robert Rodriguez. He does not fit the Star Wars motif, especially in this episode. I don't think he nailed it on the first one. The way that the first and third episode feel so distinctly different than the second episode is a huge problem in the series. Like, that's a big problem in terms of their tone. Because this really, like, it felt like one of his other movies, like Shark Girl and Lava, or Shark Boy and Lava Girl, right? Like, it felt like a kid movie with like where there's a lot of post-production zoom effects done with the camera and tilts and slow downs, and it felt weird. That chase scene is one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen on TV ever. Ever.
It was shocking. I'm still shocked.
Like, they're doing X Games. They're doing X Games on the building and stuff, and I'm just like, what? Why?
yeah, it was just overly done for that kind of situation. And the chase scene didn't bother me too much. It was just those bikes that just really bothered me. I get that, like, as he's speeding through, he's trying not to hit too much traffic, as there's too much stuff going around. He could destroy that long speeder very easily. But I did like part of the chase scenes where there were homages. Like, you saw the painting that was like broken in half. You saw that. Yeah. There was that carriage bot that was like, instead of wanting to get himself hit, he drove forward and let the other two get hit, which I thought was really nice. Like, there were some good.
Who were members of the band, the Cantina band.
Yeah,
that was funny.
but yeah, other than that, like, it was a little embarrassing just seeing those cyberpunk people just.
Well, even like the cool parts,
there.
like him getting gifted a Rancor, I was like, this is badass. And then they turn it into like, he just got a new puppy, and he's like, oh, I like him. He likes me. That's the spot. It's like,
I want to ride him.
You get gifted a Rancor, you immediately give him a prisoner to eat to test out how he's doing. Like, you got to see if this thing runs right. Like, come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just there's a lot of issues with this episode.
I struggle to think of anything I can say positive about that episode. Like, anything positive. I can't think of anything. It's nuts.
Out of all of it, they don't even build up like the Pike Syndicate. They don't even make them seem like badasses. They barely make it indicated that they had something to do with the death of all the Tusken Raiders that Boba Fett was supposed to be part of, right? Like, there was such an easier way for them to set up those flashbacks to, really tip the hat off to the viewer that, like, hey, these are like the bad guys, and this is who Boba Fett's going to be going up against, because they're the ones who killed the Tuskens or had them killed, right? Like, there was a way for them to do that, and it just I don't like the way this episode was lined up. Kyle mentioned that why did Boba Fett even need these like 4 cyberpunk millennial kids like to like come be on board? Maybe if they front loaded the episode with Black Krrsantan is like assassinating or trying to assassinate Boba Fett, right? And then Boba Fett runs into these kids. He's like, "Oh, I need some protection real quick. Let me hire these kids." Like, there's better ways to organize the episode that make things feel more meaningful. But as it is right now, it's just like it feels like a series of just happenstance. It's like, oh yeah, I guess we'll do this. I guess we'll do this. And then I guess the huts are gone now too, and we just got us a Wookiee that runs off into the desert. Like it just none of it made sense, man.
It's like
I was hoping,
like
I was hoping the Wookiee was about to join us. I was hoping he was about to be like, "Yo, spared your life. It's just business.
I
Now
was
you're,
thinking that
now
too.
you're the homie."
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be
No,
back.
you better not jog back.
Yeah, I know.
Like Boba Fett's gonna be in trouble in like 2 episodes, and he's finally gonna like finish his jog back into town.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm here to save the day. Here I am.
Yeah. Yeah, just sweating and all. He's like just so tired from the run.
Yeah, but I would say that Stephen Root did a fantastic job coming in to talk to Boba. I forgot the dude's name, but in the like as his character, but Stephen Root is the actor. He came in.
He's in
and
everything.
he kind of, yeah, and I love it, like because he's a fantastic actor. He's done everything. It's wonderful, but I do love his line in the episode where he's like, "Sir, the people don't respect you."
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't respect you right now.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
He was talking for the audience. He's one with us. He's a little self-aware there.
Yeah. Hitting that fourth wall a little bit. But I the recruitment process, it wasn't terrible. I just, like I said, it just felt out of place. I think it should have been maybe a few older people. Not too like they could still be young, just not too young.
Yeah.
Something that Bubba can relate to because he's a much older gentleman recruiting like these young people who apparently are very good at their combat skills. Like they were able to go up against Black Krrsantan like it was nothing. It was weird.
Yeah, it was bullshit.
Bro, when that girl just like literally walks up and stabs him in the side, doesn't run at him, doesn't sneak up on him. She just has a saunter over with a knife and like just stabs him. It just disrespects him so much as a bounty hunter. He's supposed to be one of the best bounty hunters in the galaxy, right? Like he gets hired by Vader in the comic books.
He worked for Vader, yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, he gets knifed by some human on Tatooine who he never saw coming. Like it just
It's very Arya
so
Night
weird.
King stabbing vibes.
Oh my god. That was like the most awful thing ever in Game of Thrones. I couldn't believe it. I was like, the king is dead. I was like, that's it? I was like, we've waited 8 seasons and that's it? I was so shocked by that. I could not believe it. That was
Look,
fucking
they're subverting
frustrating.
expectations, all right?
I know, dude. That was just, my god.
That's the vibes they were going for, and I think they hit them pretty well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they can go with the show. I feel like we're already halfway into the season, right? And I still don't see the main thrust for the show. I still don't see why Boba Fett cares about Tatooine at all. I saw a tweet on Twitter like, why does he care about this? It'd be like someone caring about some meth lab in Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's just who cares? It's Tatooine.
Yeah.
It's
It's
the
true.
Huts know what's up. They're like, let's go. This is a dump.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, it's a dump. Who cares about Tatooine? Please.
But then Boba's like, this is my dump. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Like, I died here. I will own it. Like, I just don't understand. It makes no sense. Yeah. Like, I see so many people, like, comparing the bikes to Power Rangers and, like, the gang to, like, cyberpunk kids and stuff. Like, it was such a hit and miss. Like, it really was. So bad, Jesus Christ. I think how they saved the show is they need somebody from canon to show up, like, pretty big. Like, I'm thinking they're going to bring in, like, Crimson Dawn, and it's going to be run by Cad Bane or something, because it's, like, obviously, the show is very heavily based on bounty hunters. So, like, Cad Bane's one of the, like, if not the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. It's like, he's coming in, like, he's going to run the pike. I bet you he'll be the one who's calling all the shots and running the pikes. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in, like, an older version of Emilia Clarke's character as well. And then maybe a de-aged version of Han Solo. And I think if they do all that, the last 3 episodes might be fire, but it's been such a weak start. Such a weak start.
Is there any chance we get to see Din Djarin again?
Yeah, I think he's going to be in it as well. There was some behind the scenes photos released of him, probably a while ago, and people were like, "Are they shooting Mando 3 in secrecy or something?" Because like he was meant to still be on the set of Last of Us, and now Mando 3 only news just hit this week that the production has been halted for some reason, probably COVID related. I don't know. I didn't really read into it, but they're shooting the show now. So what was he shooting back then? Like he was pictured in all of his Mando gear. So it's like I think he was shooting something for this show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would
That's
make
the
sense
theory.
in the timeline.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where we are with the flashbacks, right, in terms of the timeline, but they do show the like really short mechanic lady. I think her name actually is like Cannon or something like that. They show her in there, so it's like Mando could pop up very easily in that area. But you're right.
I believe the flashbacks are directly after episode 6.
Okay.
And the show itself, current time, like Mando was set like the Mandalorian, so from the flashbacks to the first episode of Mandalorian is 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so like there's like a
He was
time
just wandering for 2 years.
yeah, there's a time gap of like 2
Yeah.
or 3 years from where we see Boba in Mando 2. So it's like, are they going to be able to fill in where he's been with the pacing of this show right now? Are they going to be able to fill in those 3 years in time till we see him for the first time in Mando? I doubt it. I doubt it. And if they try and do it, they won't do it well. So yeah, I think that this series kind of success for this series banks on them doing a de-aged Harrison Ford or something like that. I think that's the only way that the fans kind of can forgive how shit of a start the season had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, we don't really have a big like villain or bad guy here. We thought it was going to be the mayor, and then like maybe it works out that way, that it still is. But I still don't feel like I know who we're up against and like why we're up against them. We need more motive. Like we need motive. We need it. We need scenes outside of Boba Fett. I don't think and I could be wrong about this, but I don't think we've really had scenes away from Boba Fett this entire show, right? Like it's just the camera's just following him the entire time. So we get no information that he doesn't have. Like if we would have seen the Hutt twins at the very beginning giving the assassination order on Boba Fett and telling the Wookiee like, hey, this is how you can sneak into the palace. There's a secret gate here. The secret, like, it would explain away how this 7-foot Wookiee gets by, all these guards. Like,
Bro, have you not taken Drax's class on stealth? Come on.
I suppose I think that kind of shows like the level of skill that BK has, that he's able to actually break in there undetected and sneak past everyone and get into thing. But then it's like, okay, he's such a badass that he can get in undetected, but he can't kill a defenseless Boba who's in a diaper just fucking coming out of a bata tank, and then a bunch of amateurs come in who have like upgrades and start fucking him up, and then he just drops into a pit. It's like, is he a badass who's like stealth? Is he like Hitman, or is he not? Like, what's going on? It's just all over the place. Makes no sense. And like, he used his charged up like knuckle duster and he punches Boba like full blown in the face. Like, we've heard that Wookiees can tear humans' arms off. That's how strong they are.
I think we've seen it, right? Like they showed that in a film, didn't they? Where like maybe a Solo where like he's throwing an arm.
Yeah, especially when they lose like at games or like chess or anything. I think that's what they used it for too. They get really mad.
Yeah, like you're not. That's what
losers.
That was the original line. Don't let the Wookiee win. Like, don't make him mad. Like, he'll tear your arms off. So it's like, and like, like Chewbacca is like half the Wookiee that BK is. So it's like BK's so violent and so vicious that he got thrown off his home planet. He was banished, and he's been like literally working for Darth Vader, and he's been like one of the top bounty hunters in the world. Like, he's gonna fuck Chewie up in a fight, I would guess. So it's like, I just don't get it. It's so weird.
I mean, maybe hanging out with the Hutts long enough, you get a little comfortable. They're always sitting around.
I don't know.
Maybe
he lost
was
so
sitting...
much street cred with that joke, though. He'll never get that back. He will never financially recover from that.
Imagine if they had the guts to just pan the camera towards where he was going and just watch him for like a good minute.
I'd watch it. It'd be better than the rest of the chase scene.
This is how you get Bigfoot sightings. Guys like that jogging around. Come on.
And, you know, I would really be interested on the behind the scenes of this show and how much involvement everyone's had. Because I think the reason The Mandalorian turned out so good is like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni both were like so hands-on with that. But now all of a sudden they got this new universe they're supposed to open up and spread out. They got like 4 or 5 different shows they're working on, trying to build this expanded universe out. And I wondered how much involvement Filoni has on Book of Boba Fett specifically.
Yeah.
Because where The Mandalorian felt so authentic and so like Star Wars, this feels like so foreign to it. It just, I don't think he's involved in it, and maybe he's the secret ingredient that really makes everything tick.
Well, a true test to what you've just said there will be episode 5 or 6. I can't remember. Dave wrote one of them. I think it was 5 or 6. So if we see a massive spike in content and like quality for either 5 or 6, we know that that's him. You know, I'll find out which one he did. I'm pretty sure it's episode 6.
Okay.
But then, you know, Danger Zone again is Rodriguez is directing the finale. So I get a feeling it's not going to end strong, you know?
Yeah.
So I think what I'm praying is that we have a good episode next week. So episode 4 is good, or at least half of it's good, or, you know, it ends on a cliffhanger. You know the way they like, it feels like Disney have a kind of method to how they're making these shows. Like, you know, there's a structure to them. And I think we'll probably get something like a cliffhanger or an after credit scene or something at the end of episode 4, and then episode 5 and 6 will be bangers, and then 7 will be just an absolute disappointment. That's just the way pretty much every DC or every fucking show's gone so far, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we definitely need more Steph Green though. She did a fantastic job on episode 2.
Yeah,
like, that was the best
great.
we got.
Yeah, it was.
And it was fun. Like it was the effects were great. Everything felt comfortable, especially like in his rise to learning all of his skills, helping out the Tusken Raiders, and then eventually, you know, becoming one of them. It just felt so natural.
Yeah, but we go through an amazing journey to get there, and then the start of this episode, we just see him walking up to the camp, and they're all burned alive. It's like, so what was all that for? It was for nothing. You know, yeah. I presume the flashbacks aren't finished. I presume we're going to see more. And I think I saw somebody pointed out that the beast, like warrior Tusken, the female, I don't think her body was there in the wreckage. So I presume she's probably still alive.
Mm-hmm.
But she's obviously not alive in the current day, because obviously Boba seems to have connected very, very deeply with this like fighter, that if that fighter was still alive, they would have to be standing beside Boba on the throne. I would, you know, you would guess. Yeah. That'd be a pretty educated guess.
That or they feel that warrior felt the need to find another tribe because it reached a point where they were attacked. They had nothing left. And it seems like to them being in town or in a city kind of area, like, means death to them. Any sort of like conflict with other people means death, and that's why they stay out in the sands, and that's why they keep to themselves. So maybe it could still be that she's still alive, they meet, they talk, but she says, I'm not coming with you. I need to find other tribes and take care of them.
Yeah, maybe she won't leave the Dune Sea. Possible. Yeah.
And then maybe that's the motive for Boba. Maybe that's him saying, well, I don't want the Tusken Raiders to all be gone. I don't want the natives to be like have this feeling of fear. I don't want anybody to be fearful of where they live, and therefore I want to take over. And that's why in the first episode he said, we don't rule by fear. We want to be a family.
I think you got a point, man.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I saw her body, but maybe I was just hoping.
I'm just lost in where the direction of this all is, honestly. It doesn't seem like the end goal is not clear. And it feels like it's going to be kind of plopped in our lap and we're going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Like you said, the format of Disney Plus, episode 7, like they're gonna explain everything, and then we're gonna have to wrap the show up real quick. Like, oh, that may okay. Oh, it's over with now. Thank you. Thank you again.
The only thing that might help us with that is the fact that this show is so like it's a fucking DLC of Mando 2, you know, so like whatever happens here could literally just continue straight on to Mando's episode 301, like, you know, and I think that's what's going to happen, because if you think about it, like the end of Mando season 2 show Boba sitting on the throne, and then it just goes directly into this show, and then I think we're just going to go directly out of it and into the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we might not have that bullshit of having to wrap everything up, because the story will continue. You know, it's going to continue on. So I don't think they need to wrap up. So hopefully they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I just like, I don't know. Like I literally just hate almost the entire cast of the show too. And hate's a strong word, I shouldn't say hate. But I find very few of them to be charming. Like I don't think Boba Fett is that compelling to watch. I don't think his mercenary friend is that compelling to watch. All the kids who come on to help him, like I don't really care about them as cast members. The closest I've been to actually like really being intrigued by a character so far has been the Tusken Raiders, and then the mayor. And the Tusken Raiders are kind of gone now, and like they leave the mayor out again of another episode. When him being on screen was like some of the best we got. Like he was such a powerful character.
Yeah.
And then they have a chance to like show him at the end of this episode. They're like, oh no, he's gone. He ran off to work with the Pikes. Like, why didn't we have a scene where he like is kind of betraying Boba Fett there and like tells him?
We got the chase scene though.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's pretty sad when the space orcs have about the most charisma on the screen, and they don't even have voice lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're dad bods, like just like complete others.
They're fucking dad bods. They're the guy wearing a Speedo at the beach, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, please. They look fantastic.
Yeah, but we definitely needed what the confidence. We definitely needed what Hoffman was saying about side scenes. You know, it would have been awesome seeing those biker gangs like running, not even like starting the fight yet, but just like driving all the way up to the Tusken Raiders, like in a distant scene similar to that. Would have been amazing, because then you would have seen the Tusken Raiders look across. I think it's Boba, but it's actually the bikers coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like so far away they can't tell. Yeah, that would have been sick.
It'd take me about 3 hours to get to the camp.
God, those Vestas were so slow.
They were so shit. Like I just could not believe what I was watching that. Like it was just horrendous.
Oh, not the Vespas, the long speeders from the biker gang.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah. I thought you were saying that they were going to mistake the bikers for the cyberpunk crew.
Oh no! I just mistake them for Boba himself, because the last time he brought multiple in. So to get that kind of like scene, to think that you're having your best buddy come in, it's actually like death coming, and that would have been a fantastic scene to see. Like, and I also agree with the mayor situation. At the very least, show him like walking up the ship to start like a conversation with the Pikes.
Yeah,
like, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah,
and you would think maybe Boba Fett would have maybe an aversion to biker gangs on Tatooine. Maybe he would have something in his past where he would hate biker gangs and want nothing to do with them. Maybe, I don't know. But he just rolls up to these Vesta people and it's like, hey, yeah, come work for me. You guys don't got any money? Oh, but you got all these really nice bikes. Why don't you sell a couple of those to get some water?
Yeah.
So, like, it just makes
or
no
like
sense,
stop
man.
buying wax to fucking wax them up. Like you can afford to eat then. Like they're on a desert planet, which has like desert storms like every day. And those things are glistening. You could eat food off them. They were that clean. It was just like, they stood out like a sore thumb. Like I was just like, this is so ridiculous. And like,
there wasn't one microfiber towel on set.
I don't care. I don't care how much like George Lucas loved like 50s hot rods and shit. Like it's like, keep that crap out of Star Wars. I'm sorry. Like, you know, like they've never done anything that bold before. Like it was just ridiculous.
The closest they ever got was the sleekness of the like fighters on Naboo in like episode 1. That was like the most sleek stuff, but it fit.
Yeah, that made sense. It was fitting. Like, you know, I said this in our video yesterday. Like those like cyberpunk kids like belong on Coruscant or one of these like futuristic planets. Like, you know, you'd expect to see them down in the city. Like, you know, in episode 2 where Anakin goes down into the club and stuff, and they're on the floor of Coruscant. Like it's like
Yeah.
that was the that's where I'd expect to see like characters like that, you know, not on a desert planet where it's all aliens and like outcasts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
dude,
then, like,
I don't know.
Boba Fett's talking to them is like, oh, well, he gets to set the water prices. It's his water. And then like turns around and tells the guy like, oh, you'll accept $500 and you'll be happy. Like, where's the consistency, man?
I think he realized he's like 1,300 for water. It's like, what? You know, I think he was like, okay, hang on a sec. You are ripping the piss, sir. You will take 500 and like it. I actually thought that was kind of badass of it from him because it's like, here's 500 and don't even fucking try it. Like,
I just love that Stephen Root's character was like hiding behind the side, and he's like, "What? He's not helping me! Oh my god!" And he had to run out. And
oh, dude, it was cheesy. It was cheesy.
Yeah, it was really cheesy.
Like I really didn't think we could have gotten worse Star Wars content than Episode 9 and 8, right? But like truly, this is I can't believe that this is part of the Star Wars cinematic universe now. Like it's there forever. Like this episode of this is like canon, and I have to think about it all the time now. Like it's there. It's part of it. Thank you. Thank you.
Did you guys see the leaked Knights of Ren trailer that came out?
Yes.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that?
I mean, is it supposed to be a video game or is it supposed to be like a movie?
It's supposed to be a movie. On
it
like a Disney Plus series or something.
It looked incredible, man. Like I was like the creativity and how the Knights of Ren were just destroying everything. I like seeing a lightsaber again. It felt really good, you know, whatever. Like I'm in on that show.
Why I think it was fake is just I didn't know that the Knights had lightsabers. I didn't know that they were actual Sith. And that doesn't look like Kylo.
That's a good point.
So I don't know.
Right.
It definitely
where would they
wasn't
grab
Kylo.
it from if it was fake?
Maybe it was made in Unreal 5 or something. Like some of these like Unreal 5 like fan
They
movies
were
and stuff I've
so
seen
real.
they're ridiculous. They look amazing. You know, they're like some of these trailers. Like there was one for a Knights of the Old Republic thing made, and like it looks better than any of that actual official game. Like, you know, and I think like some of these people are going to put out better content than some of the fucking movies we've seen. Like it's crazy. Like people just sitting in front of their home computers on Unreal 5 just making bangers.
Yeah.
Wild. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
What a time. What a time to live in.
And the deepfakes are going to roll in even harder now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, especially with the success of that dude who got hired by Disney. Like, you know, I'm sure there's going to be people that'll pop up that are as good or better than him, and they'll just start putting loads of shit out in hopes that they get picked up by a fucking movie studio or whatever. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But like that dude like has said like he apologized to his community because he hadn't like put out a deepfake in like 8 months or something, and turned around and just said, look, I've been really busy with Disney doing stuff. So like, you know, they're working on DH stuff. We haven't even talked about it yet, but like there's a real likelihood that we're probably going to see Luke Skywalker again, maybe in this show, like in the next like 2 or 3 weeks. Like we could see the Luke and Grogu again, we could see Ahsoka again, we could see Han Solo. I don't know if they do a Leia after her dying, but you know, Chewbacca easily, R2D2, C3PO, these are all easy like cameos that would be really good. But they need to start doing some. They need to start doing something quick.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's such a fall off from the end of Mandalorian season 3, season 2,
yeah,
where everything was like so exciting and Luke was there. We had Bo-Katan on the bridge, and there was the Darksaber. Like it was like we were moving
wild.
in all these places.
It was wild.
And it's just like Boba Fett and Tatooine, terrible scripts, awkward casting, Vespas. Like no thanks, man. Like it sapped everything away from me.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like that last episode of Mandalorian, like so I don't know if you guys have seen any of the like Clone Wars or Rebels or something, but like there's a handful of episodes from those two shows that are just some of the best Star Wars content ever made, you know? And Mando season 2 actually felt like it was that, but in live action. Like that's how good it felt. You know, you've got so much like so many elements from the Star Wars lore together in one place at the one time, and I was just like, this is wild. Like wild. Could not believe it. And then we go from that to this. It's just such a fucking fall from grace.
Boo. Just boo, Disney.
Sadness.
It hurts even more because I know we're getting ready to talk about Peacemaker, and like just to see that show be such a banger and so well done and have such likable characters who aren't great people, right? Like you don't have to be a great person to be a likable character, or like people like Darth Vader. They're like there's got to be something there, and so I just see that show compared to Boba Fett. I'm like, why is it so hard for Disney to make good TV shows? Because Peacemaker already to me has blown out like all the stuff from like Disney Plus for the Marvel stuff. Like it's just they Disney cannot nail TV right now. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like when I kind of think back on 2021, like I really think like Loki was probably one of the best things that we had from Disney that is like last year, and like
Yeah.
I think Loki on a rewatch is probably better, but it wasn't great week by week. There was some really good episodes and some really good elements to the show, but there was some of it that just wasn't great either. So like, it feels like Disney are just very hit and miss. Like, if I think back, I suppose there's probably a couple of bits that I really enjoyed of every show. There was a couple of good episodes of Wanda. There was a couple of good episodes of Loki. There was one or two good parts in Falcon. There, it wasn't all doom and gloom, like, but they just haven't been. Like for the MCU to be able to put out such incredible movie content and not be able to put out, and to be able to put out what they're putting out on TV just doesn't add up. Like, it's crazy. Does not add up.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
I think we're just tired of the build up to the big bad and then giving the big bad one scene, because that just seems to be like the case every single time, and it's getting very annoying. Like, because I had it a little bit in Falcon and the Winter Soldier when we finally learned about the broker. In WandaVision, we find out that it was Agatha all along, and we only see her for like an episode or two. But although I do like how WandaVision had the villain there the whole time, just that we didn't know it was her. So it was like a nice little fun twist to it, which was okay. But other than that, I think we could have had maybe another episode of screen time, maybe have them separate for a bit, have some brooding, come back, have this big fight, and then, end it. And then with Loki, it was just went downhill once Jonathan Majors showed up with, being He Who Remains, and it was very lackluster. The fight wasn't believable. Like, nothing was great about it. It's just like everything was.
Oh, Loki.
Yeah.
Why? But you're right. Like, we always talk about it. It's like they hold this idea of like the reveal being the good part of the show, and that's always the weakest. That's like, in Night Shyamalan, like it's his style of movie making, and it's like very Shyamalan. It's like you get one go at that, and then it's bad, right? Like you get one good try, one good go at that, and now it's just every Disney Plus show follows that formula, and I like the villains can be good, they can be intriguing, they can be fun to watch, and they need to give us them way earlier.
Yeah,
I think they just need to be careful. They're playing with fire. They're playing with the fan base that's around longer than probably some of these producers and some of these people working on this show have been alive. So you just really gotta be careful with that shit, because you're gonna have an angry mob coming towards you, and if you do plan on releasing movies in the future, you're only hurting yourself, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The big rumor for the next movies now is actually 10, 11, and 12, and they're going to be reviving Ben Solo. They're going to be bringing him back to life somehow through the Force. I swear to God.
No way, bro. There's no way.
I swear.
10, 11, and 12?
Yeah.
Please don't.
We're good.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see it either, but apparently that's what they're trying to do.
Because making it 10, 11, and 12 is saying that it's part of the Anakin saga, which the last three weren't part of the Anakin saga. It hasn't been Anakin. Like, they just need to stop.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And how? Like every trilogy has been like a generational jump. Like what are we gonna do? Like, you have to skip forward like 18 years, right? Like that's the whole point of the way they've done the sagas.
Ray got pregnant by the Force, bro. Chill.
Yeah, they could. Well, I
Jeez.
suppose they could do like Rey starting up a new Jedi Order, finally getting Finn as a Jedi as well, and I don't know, where did the Sith come from? I'm sure they come from somewhere like or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I've zero interest in it, but I'd be impressed as well if they got Adam Driver to re-sign with Star Wars after the kind of flop of that last trilogy. Like, you know, he was definitely the best part in those movies, but they were just trash. Absolutely fucking trash.
It was just the ending was just telling us the Skywalker name will never die. Dude, just let it go. Like, we have other force users that we can use. Like, it's fine. We've heard enough Skywalker. Let's get some other people that are pretty famous.
Yeah, they need to go. They need to go 1,000 years either back or forward. Like, just get the hell away from it. And I think what the problem is with these shows that we're watching right now is that the timeline is so close to the original content, and it's so treasured by people that
That's what I'm saying. They're playing with fire.
Yeah. Like when it's great, it's amazing, and when it's bad, it's an insult. It's, you know, people are getting defensive, you know, because it's like, you are ruining my childhood. Like, you know,
if they start accidentally retconning stuff or anything like that, there's gonna be hell to pay. If they start doing, like, because you know there's people out there right now already trying to make sure that this all lines up the way it's supposed to with the current canon, and the second they make one mistake in that regard, they're gonna get pounced on. Like, nope, can't do that.
Well, like, take Star Wars Theory, for example. Like, you know, biggest Star Wars creator on the planet, nearly has as many follows as the official Star Wars channel on YouTube. Like, he is hardcore for the prequel trilogy. Like, Anakin Skywalker's his hero. Can you imagine what, like, his community would be like if they ruin Obi-Wan, the show? Like, Jesus Christ, like, there'll be riots. You know, it's just
They're gonna
crazy.
ruin Obi-Wan, bro. They're gonna ruin Obi-Wan. Like, I do not have hope. I don't have hope.
I don't know.
It's supposed to be a new hope.
I just think.
And in all hope you enter here.
I think, like, every scene coming up and it's like Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen and stuff, I think it's kind of going to be extremely hard for me to not enjoy this show. Like, every episode would need to be Vespas for me to hate this show. Like, that's how bad it's going to be. And it can't be that bad because Ewan McGregor is such a phenomenal actor. Seeing him age as Obi-Wan, like, is going to bring tears to my eyes. I'm going to love it. Like, you know, he's so special to me, these characters. And seeing Hayden in the mask, seeing him, like, all, like, beaten up and everything, like, that is just going to be amazing for me. Like, I love that he's back, and people are giving him the whole kind of Andrew Garfield vibe. Like, you know, everyone's kind of praising him that he's back and all this stuff, and he's getting the respect and worship that he deserves, like, you know, and it's just,
His fan base.
It is what it is. But, you know, I think that will be a very hard one to fuck up. You know, I really think so. Like, I think even if the episodes are mediocre, it's still going to hit because it's so nostalgic. You know, it's like if they brought back, if they did a de-aged Luke Skywalker series, like, the episodes would have to be the biggest load of dog shit ever for people to complain about it, because people will be so happy to just see a full-blown show surrounded by Luke, like, you know.
Yeah, I agree, but, like, I just, you know, it's like Boba Fett is, to me, the warning shot about how bad it could be when they're taking on these old, like, characters and kind of, you know, fleshing them out a little bit and just not really having great takes on them, versus, like, the Mandalorian, which is, you know, gets away from the main cast, right, until, like, the very end where we get a cameo from Luke. That's where I think I like Star Wars, because I do like kind of being in this era, because I think everything looks, I love this look of Star Wars. This is my favorite era. Because everything is so run down and worn down. It's like you're past that Gilded Age, right?
It's Western vibes.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Right.
Space cowboy.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, like, Rogue One works so well for me, because you are set in this time period, but it's like all characters that really don't tie into the main series necessarily. Like, they're not there until they make, you know, kind of some cameos at the end. Like, oh, here's a cameo from Leia. Here's a cameo from Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And we can do that. And I think that's what they need to do more of, is stop trying to pull from these legacy characters, because you're on thin ice. It's 50-50. You can either make it great or you can make it terrible and ruin the character for everybody. So just leave them alone.
And when they do use legacy characters, they need to do it exactly how Rogue One did. When you saw Darth Maul in Rogue One, you were like, oh!
Yeah.
Like, that hit.
Yeah,
Or
that was
Vader.
crazy.
Yeah.
No, they had Maul in that one.
Maul was in
didn't
it
they?
as well. There was a
Yeah,
a
he was the
hologram of him
boss.
at the very
He
end.
was
He
the
was
boss
talking to Kira.
of Amelia. She was their boss of that.
Oh, that was
syndicate.
Solo.
Solo, yeah, he's running Crimson Dawn and Solo.
Oh yeah, Solo. Okay, I
Yeah.
get those two mixed up.
But yeah, like that's a great example
Yeah.
though. Like Darth Maul pops in at the end, you're like, oh, like
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
that stuff is great, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to like really write these legacy characters, it's like you can't. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. I gotta dip out.
Okay.
Bye,
Have a
Alex.
fantastic night.
Later.
Thank you so
brother.
much for having me, guys.
As always.
Have a great
dude.
podcast.
As always.
Later, brother.
Bye,
Later.
my friend.
Are we gonna talk about John Cena?
Oh my! You know who he looks like? You guys remember that guy Ernest?
Yeah.
Ernst?
Yeah.
Growing up, this show made me realize how much he looks like that actor. He looks so
Yeah.
much like that dude.
Yeah, he does.
It's the face.
That's so funny, bro.
He looks so. He's like our generation's version of him. They just need to give him that fishing hat. He's fucking in, bud.
Dude, just do one movie with him. Do one movie with him as Ernest.
Dude, I got
Ernest goes
that
to pro
show
wrestling.
was surprisingly better than I thought it was going to be. Just off the bat, before even the title screen, hilarious.
Yeah.
It was funny.
it was cool to see like previously on the Suicide Squad. I was like, what? I was like, what the hell's going on? I was like, oh shit, yeah, and like they just showed so much footage from that movie. I was like, this is how you integrate movies and TV. Like, you know, this is just, I feel like we're picking up exactly where we left off, and it's. I know
none of the vague stuff that the MCU's doing. They're always vague about it, and here they're just like straight up. Okay, previously on the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and it really feels as well like, I know the first like episode anyway was like written and directed by James Gunn. The whole season isn't, as far as I know. So, you know, I'd say there will be a bit of a dip in quality, but you know, whatever, that's fine. But yeah, like what a great opening episode.
Cool.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, James Gunn is a genius. He knows how to like shoehorn things in and make it not feel bad. Where it's like you know, previously on Suicide Squad, catches up real quick. Oh, he gets shot. Like, how is he alive? And they just make a quick comment about it, and it's like, boom, here we are. Like, deal with it. This is the show now.
Yeah.
Because like it is freaking tastic, man. Like, the entire tone of this show nails it. I can't believe that we're actually watching a DC TV show that like I'm really enjoying. The only other one I've ever enjoyed is Doom Patrol. And they kind of feel like they're part of the same universe. Like, I don't know, HBO's got this nice tone they're hitting with a couple of their DC shows.
We just gotta be cautious because Titans started off fire too, and Finto and I can tell you where that went very quickly.
Yeah,
True. But those are different. Like, we're in the movie universe right now. You know, we're messing around with like movie characters and stuff. So
They got the big guns in writing on this stuff. Yeah.
big time. Like you know, you could feel James going all over this like first episode, and
The humor is so good.
It actually
the humor
was.
is so good.
I had a couple of like roaring laughing moments in it. Like, I was very, very, very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the first episode, like I don't mind if have you guys seen all three?
No, I only watched the first one.
Okay,
I was
well,
gonna watch
watched
the other two tonight.
I watched the first one this morning, and then I was like, I had to watch both of them before this cast because
that was my plan.
Enjoying it.
That was my plan. I was going to do that, but I got caught up with my parents, and then I had to do a bit of shopping and stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not going to get home in time. I was fuming.
Would blame your parents, dude. How old are you? Grow up.
I know, bro. I know.
I'll say this: the quality of the first episode holds up all the way through the second and third episode. Like, they're just as good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another huge. Like, I don't know how it's gonna go throughout the whole thing, but so far, it's like another huge triumph for James Gunn. Like, he is just a filmmaker and a storyteller that is a unique talent within the industry. Because here we are with like 4 side characters who are just like agents, right? Like, they're not superheroes.
Yeah.
And instantly, as a cast, like, I love them all and I care about them all.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he fucking does it. He did it with the Suicide Squad. He did it with Guardians of the Galaxy, and now he's done it with this, where it's like, I love all of the characters already. Yeah. Like, immediately, I love these characters. Like, he's fantastic, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's I don't know how he can do it. Like, I don't know how he does it. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like
I think Marvel, one of the things that they do wrong is they just allow like multiple different directors to get in on their projects, and it's like a vision isn't carried through. You have someone like James Gunn doing something like this. He's got the vision from start to finish, and he just perfects it. And it's they need to do more of that.
Especially when like all the shows they're doing are not large in scale. Like I kind of get it on a Game of Thrones type of thing where it's like it's such a huge production and one episode takes so much to film with like the huge battles and stuff. Like bring in other people.
And you have multiple seasons, you know?
Yeah, but like you're right, man. You know, the Marvel shows that have been on TV just are nowhere near this good in terms of like their consistency, the tone they strike between the whole deal. You know, every character feels written the same throughout every episode. It feels like they have the same motives and the same ideas about what they're gonna do. And like once again, James Gunn with his music, he nails like the music of this thing.
Yeah.
The soundtrack, which is like I guess 70s metal, is so fun to listen to because it's not really a genre I check out all the time, and I'm digging everything from it, man.
Yeah. Like John Cena, like it surprises me how good, it just surprises me how good he is. You know, like I think the intro, like where they were dancing on stage was a bit ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying.
It was
my God.
it was ridiculous.
And he's like full into it, straight face the whole time, like.
Yeah, like
right,
my girlfriend looked at me and was like, "What the fuck are we watching right now?" And I was just like, "This is them kind of taking the piss out of themselves. It's actually quite clever." I was like, "It's funny, but it is cringy as fuck to watch." Like, you know, like I could see, like I was like, "This is definitely James Gunn." Like, and it was just like, you know, written and directed by James Gunn. Yeah, it was.
Please don't tell me the rat guy is the one that shot you.
Yeah,
He gets really
the
quiet.
dad was brilliant. Well, like, what do you think, Scott? I don't really know much about like the character or anything or any of his like family or anything like that, but like, you know, when he opens up his like his secret room and it just like expands out or whatever, it's like
dimensional.
yeah, it was like dimensional fucking storage or something. Like it was crazy. It's like opening up a little pocket dimension or something. And I think that's what they say Idris Elba's character in that movie, you know, the way he had like the futuristic tech, apparently he has some sort of ability to grab tech from like a pocket dimension. So I think that the dad has the same shit. So I'd say we'll probably get a bit of a deeper look into that. But how beast are the helmets as well? I was like,
So many helmets.
Give me one helmet that does it all, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the dad actually like they explained him as like the Peacemaker from like the 1950s or Vietnam era, right?
Yeah.
Like, because he kind of seems like that old dude who's like was a military guy. So I would put it down to that, where it's like there's a lot of contention between them because he's the one that got him into it.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right. They always kind of do that kind of story trope, like where it's like, you know, the old retired dad was the original. Like, you know, they've kind of done it with Marvel as well, like with, you know, Pym and stuff like that, like being the original Ant-Man and so on. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a Peacemaker himself.
Especially with like the American flag being upside down in the yard and stuff. Like they're trying to tell you like things didn't go.
He's like an expat now or something.
Yeah.
Right. Dude, how about the bald eagle giving him a full ass hug in the garage?
Yeah, the hug. That was crazy.
Get my phone. I don't want to
Dad,
move.
get my phone. He's like, this is fucking amazing. Yeah, I just love the vibe. I can't get over how good John Cena is. You know, as someone who was like a pro wrestler coming into acting, like I know The Rock did it and is one of the biggest movie stars in the world, but like some of these guys are so fucking talented, like, and John Cena like deserves to be up there with him. Like, you know, he's so funny, he's physical, like he's a good actor.
Like you said, he's able to take the piss out of himself.
Yeah,
so
big time.
much to the point where I feel like some of these other big stars, like I think that there's always been rumors like this person is supposed to win so many fights in his contract on this movie set, like they care about how they look in their appearance in the end, and he's just like, let's do some fun and shit.
Yeah, and I you know, props to him, like, you know, the fact that like he's able to just take the piss out of himself, and I think he's just, you know, the career that he's had, you know, I can only imagine what it's like being a professional wrestler for a living. Like, you know, no one's going to take you seriously. Like, you got to be able to poke fun at yourself, like, you know. So I think like roles like this really work for him because he could just act the bollocks, like, and I feel like he is like that character in real life because, like, you know, when they go to like a movie premiere, he'll wear the costume on the red carpet. He'll wear the costume on like talk shows and shit. Like, you know, he is the Peacemaker. Like, it's crazy. It's so funny. He fits that role so perfectly. Like, and again, it's just Hollywood doing amazing jobs, like casting people. Like, you know, it's just like he'll, in a couple of years, like, you know, I think we'll just be at a stage where it's just like, I can't picture anybody else but John Cena being in this role. And, you know, it'll be iconic. It'll be like Deadpool. It'll be like Wolverine with Jackman and so on. Like, you know.
Yeah, and I agree. And again, it's like there are actors who just have like charisma, right? And he's one of those people who comes in and like you're rooting for him right from the get go, and that helps you kind of suspend your disbelief because this is ridiculous that he's just a dude who can do all this stuff and has a helmet that can absolutely shred somebody. But when you really like a actor and the role they're in, you're like, yes, absolutely. Why wouldn't he have a helmet that does that? This is what he needs.
Yeah. That whole scene was just wild with the alien or whatever she was.
Yeah.
Such a wild scene. Crazy.
Just like John Cena full nude, like banging her out in the bathroom. Like I did not expect that at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I saw
that was going to be part of my day.
I saw something on Facebook and it was like,
I didn't expect to see his ass either.
Plenty of like non-suitable for work stuff in this show, so I knew something crazy was going to happen, and I had a feeling that he was going to be like smashing for sure, like in it. And it was just, but like what I meant by that was just like when the actual fight that they had, and she's like shanking him with the knife and stuff. I was like, oh my god! I was like, he's going to be like really hurt here, and like he gets stabbed about 10 times in that fight, like, but he's just like, shake it off, baby.
Yeah, she just like drills the knife right into him, like just like.
Oh, it was crazy. It was such a well choreographed fight, and like just the fact, and it was just really uncomfortable, just because he was in his underwear, So I was just like, this is just weird, But it was really good.
My man loves being in his underwear, but like the episode, like seriously, it's like a 9 out of 10. It's one of the best starts to the series I think I've ever experienced, especially for a comic book series. It's like
and DC.
And DC.
That's the best part about it, is it's DC pulling this out, and it's fire.
Yep.
It's about time they get some wins. This might be DC's year.
It's some pressure. It's some pressure on Marvel too to step up their game too.
January now, like for TV wise, belongs to DC.
Yeah.
There's nothing like in the kind of geekdom that's like topping that right now. It's not Boba, and there's nothing else on. So Boba, unless Boba does something crazy, DC are going to own the start of the year on TV, and then the Batman's going to come out, and they're going to destroy the box office as well.
Yeah.
So big year for DC. And I absolutely loved. Sorry, one sec. I just absolutely loved the when they were ripping the piss out of Aquaman in the episode. I thought that was fucking brilliant. He's like, Aquaman,
fish,
he fucks fish. He's like, why wouldn't I trust this? Like, random person on Twitter. Like, it's like they told me
he's
that,
like, but fucking fish.
He pays the aquarium off to sneak around the back and fuck fish for $50. It's just so outrageous, dude.
Mm-hmm. And I just love the way they're able to tie in their like smaller characters to the bigger world, and be alright that they know they're like smaller characters, right? Like Peacemaker knows he's not as big as Batman. Like he gets the sense of that when he talks about him, right? Yeah. Like they talk about Batman and Superman with like this larger than life reverence, like, oh yeah, that's Batman. Like, no way. Versus Marvel, where it's like everyone tries to act like they're all the same. When you're like, all right, Hawkeye, calm down. Like we love you, but you're not Thor. You don't have a lightning bolt hammer that you're flying around in through dimensions of space and time.
Marvel seem to be at a weird stage as well, where like they're kind of afraid to mention other characters. There's no kind of linking at the moment, and I don't know why, but like it feels like they're kind of doing a backstep and trying to keep like names of other characters out of their the spotlight of the show that they're trying to blast off into space. It just doesn't make any sense. For me, like watching that show today, I'm like, oh, they're mentioning Batman, they're mentioning Aquaman, this is fucking great. Like, it's like everything that's going on in the real world now is just so shitty with Batman and all this stuff, and then it's like, they're just casually dropping his name in this show, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
DC needs to make that more popular. That self-awareness they brought out with the last Suicide Squad movie that they're bringing into the show, obviously, where they're not afraid to take the piss out of themselves. They're not afraid to call out other creators, series, superheroes, anything. Like they just are. They're reading the room and they're reading it right, and everyone's like, all right, this is a vibe. And they need to keep that vibe going because it's really working. The humor's hitting on all points, and like you said, they're already starting off the year strong. Like, we're already talking about this being the year for DC, and we're not even halfway through we're about halfway through the month now. So
yeah,
they're doing something right.
Definitely big start for DC.
Well, let's slow down. We have Spider-Man and You know, we have
That
Multiverse
was
of
last year,
Madness.
friend. That was last
We're
year.
counting it for this year.
Multiverse.
Come on.
No, we'll count
December.
it. It rolled over into.
Yeah, no, I like a yeah, like I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've already
Smart, like-
claimed that's gonna be our new favorite movie, but we don't have that for until March.
June.
So-
I think
Yeah, true.
is it June?
June?
Oh no,
Is
I
it
think
June?
it's May. Are we talking about Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
I think Doctor Strange is like the end of May.
Mm.
Yeah, so like it's
Fly so far.
basically summertime.
Yeah,
you know.
then, you know, what your big theory is that Moon Knight's coming in February, right?
Yeah, and I think that kind of maybe ties in with why they extended Boba to 7 episodes and gave us like a kind of shitty 25-minute first episode just to kind of spread it out a week. And I really do think that, yeah, what's going to happen is that show's going to end in like the middle of February and we're going to just get Moon Knight. Boom.
Yeah,
They're just going to drop it like it's hot.
I hope,
Yeah.
because I need something to cleanse my palate from.
I'm very
Boba
interested.
Fett.
Like that, Alex was talking about it a lot last week and stuff. Like I didn't realize that vampires were so like prominent in that storyline for Moon Knight, and that like really interests me because it's like, you know, how are they going to introduce like vampires into the storyline? I know they've been there the whole time, but how are they just going to casually like kind of just go, like take that step into the world of vampires? You know, and
I feel you.
it's obviously set in the UK as well. You know, I was thinking, I think I saw some, like, I'm not going to take credit for this, but obviously someone like basically tying that, like, you know, they think that like your man Dane Whitman's going to be in it, Jon Snow, which would make a lot of sense, the Black Knight thing, and then obviously Blade as well. So we could actually potentially get Blade in Moon Knight as well, and maybe that's just how they all kind of come together. Like, how can you have vampires in the MCU and not have Blade, or even a mention of him, or a quick cameo or something? So I really think that like Moon Knight's gonna kick off this whole vampire thing, and we're gonna maybe get our first look at Blade. And that could be
hope
happening
so.
in a month. That could be happening in a month.
And I also hope that HBO Max is like kind of pushes Disney to get a little bit more graphic and a little bit more
Yeah.
not so like kiddie friendly, because you know I don't need gore or whatever to make a show good, but it's kind of when it's obvious that they're trying to avoid it, it almost becomes awkward.
Yeah.
Where Boba Fett really doesn't feel like violent at all, and it's a crime series, like it's a crime syndicate show, and there hasn't been a lot of like crime syndicate like scariness to it. It just feels so sanitized, like it's ugh.
Yeah. Like I think like Star Wars has always kind of been that way. You know, Anakin obviously had dark times and, you know, slaughtered Tuscans and children and all this
children.
stuff. Yeah. But it's you know, you never really see it. You only kind of, it's left to your imagination. Well, the Tuscans did get slaughtered, but you know, they've always kind of avoided it. But like, yeah, I think like think about how good Daredevil was. Think about how good Punisher was, and like they were just like soaked in violence and just amazing. Like, you know, it wasn't too over the top either. You know, like it wasn't, you know, Quentin Tarantino fucking style. It's like, you know, violence. Like, you know, it wasn't that step too far. But it was just, it was violent, and it would be what you would expect, like a vigilante guy who's that trained and is able to absolutely kick the fuck out of people is gonna act like that. Like, you know, they're gonna be breaking people's legs and in alleyways and stuff like that. Like, it's realistic. And I just think that, yeah, like, you know, Moon Knight will be a real test to see kind of how do they do something like similar. Now I know Moon Knight is meant to be very dark, so this will be a really good tester for us to see how far Disney will go. So I'm very curious to see.
I think it will, and like I hope they like kind of up the ante on like philosophy and stuff too, because you know you mentioned Daredevil and Punisher, and I think one of my favorite scenes in all of Marvel period is Daredevil when Punisher has him locked up on the roof, and they're talking about their philosophies on killing people and justice and all that, and it's like these MCU shows like don't even come near how good that was.
Yeah.
And that's literally one of my best scenes I've ever watched inside of a Marvel thing, where it's, you know, Daredevil believes in justice and the justice system and redemption.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Punisher, he's like, I put people down and they stay down. That's just the way it is. Like, there's no
Fucking
redemption.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. Fucking right.
I hope they have more of that.
See, I'm super ignorant about Moon Knight, so I don't know what I'm going into that like blank slate.
I'm very much the same. I'm very much the
mentioned
same, Carl. Very much the same, and I'm excited because like I like going in with just blank expectations, like not having a clue what's coming up, and just ready to be shocked. I don't know anything about the Oscar Isaac's character, so it's all brand new for me. Like, so that's exciting. I think we lost the guys for a
An
second.
American, to my knowledge, like he's
Oh,
a
did you
Marine.
say Marine?
Sorry, guys. I
Kidding.
blipped for a second there, so I missed what you said there for a second.
I was saying that it's interesting to see what happens with Moon Knight because it looks like it is set in London, but I believe the character is American. Like he's a Marine, right? Like he was deployed in like Afghanistan or whatever, or somewhere in the Middle East, and that's kind of where he got his powers from.
Is he like
What?
schizophrenic
they were
or
handing out
something?
powers over there. I can attest to that firsthand. That is BS.
He didn't go to the right temples.
Fact-checking this.
Are they like? Is part of him like a schizophrenic? Because I know he's like doing a weird English accent, the actor in the show.
Yeah,
So I'm like, why?
he has like schizophrenia or like split personality. Like it's to the point where it's like sometimes you're like, does he have superpowers or is he just crazy?
Yeah.
Like, does he think he's doing like special powers when he's just insane? Like they tend to walk that line a little bit, so
Yeah.
it should be interesting.
He's being described as the Batman of the MCU, so I'm very curious to see, are we getting like Pattinson's Batman, where it's going to be like just him looking for vengeance and going out and absolutely just beating people down? That's like, I think what a lot of people want to see, but it's like, are Disney going to do this? Like, probably not.
I think that's just kind of responsive. Like Batman's kind of like the guardian of the night of Gotham, and Moon Knight's god is literally the protector of people traveling at night. Like that's his, that's what he's the god of. Is like
He's the Dark
protecting
Knight.
people at night. Yeah, so it's like I think 100% Moon Knight is like Marvel's response to Batman, right? Like if you see the way he flies with his cape, he has a cowl, like so
Moon Knight, Dark Knight. It's there.
When's Black Adam supposed to come out?
Summertime maybe, or towards the end of the year, I think. Like that movie's still shooting, I think. It hasn't even wrapped production.
Yeah,
yet.
I think that's what I saw. It's like they were doing some like testing screen. I saw pictures from it. Did you know? Did you hear the rumor that they cut a fight scene with Venom out of No Way Home?
Yes.
what?
Yeah. So
yeah, apparently there's supposed to be a Venom fight scene in that Tom Hardy Venom.
Yeah, Venom was meant to be in the final fight, and Toby was meant to die, and the black suit brings Toby back to life. So the symbiote drops onto Toby, like reanimates him, and then the symbiote brings him back to life. Apparently, like that was one of the versions that they had.
Man, that'd been nice.
Would have been.
Could you imagine the symbiote like sees Toby and is like he
knows him straight
him.
away, just jumps onto him like.
He's like, oh, my old friend.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's like, I filmed scenes for No Way Home, and all I got was a stupid hat.
Yeah.
Literally a stupid hat.
Yeah. That was so funny when he
What
was
a
wearing
bummer.
that hat. It's like.
And then I saw the concept art that the American Chavez was supposed to be in No Way Home.
That would have
I
made
don't know who
sense.
that is.
That
Are
would
you
have
making up names right now? Who the hell?
No, she's in. She's gonna be in Doctor Strange. She's a she can jump.
Yeah, she's
I've
a
seen
realities.
multiverse hopper. Like,
Yeah.
basically, I think the story of Doctor Strange is that Wanda will be looking for America Chavez to learn or steal her power, so that she can start multiverse hopping herself to try and find her kids. That's the.
Interesting.
I think that's the play for Wanda.
She wants to find a multiverse where they're real. Oh.
Yeah.
Aww.
They're lost in the
But,
multiverse somewhere.
Because wasn't Doctor Strange supposed to come out before Spider-Man, right? Like that was the original release order.
I think like a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like she was be introduced in there, and then she would be in No Way Home because we already got introduced to her from Doctor Strange's movie. Because there's like a scene of her with like, or a concept art of her with Ned and Zendaya's character MJ, like they're at like a carnival or like a bumper car ride or something.
Interesting. I don't think I've seen that. I must look.
It's
it
flashy.
Up.
It was
I
nice.
must look it up.
There's some nice concept art. I always love looking at Marvel's concept art. Like their concept artists are so fun with the scenes they draw out.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
And just how accurate they are. Like sometimes you see these like concept art of these shots they have, and then you see the film version like so close to it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm really looking forward to seeing Adam Warlock after watching Dopesick and seeing your man Will Porter in action, seeing like he is a really good actor. I'm like, I wanna see this. Like, I wanna see him in the MCU now. I wanna see what the MCU could do to him. Like,
Yeah,
it's
he should be good.
Gonna be interesting.
He's bulking up, baby.
Yeah,
That's all that picture.
I think he got like some plastic surgery as well. Like, they changed his face a bit. So like,
Really?
I like your face. Change it.
the shape of his face. I think he got some sort of some work done on his jawline and his chin. So his face is like a different shape now. Like, there's loads of memes going around, and it's like, you know, like when you get the MCU effect, and it's like a picture of him when he was like younger and he's looking like a little dweeb, and now it's him and he's looking like a big fucking hunk. Like, you know, it's like it's like when the MCU get involved, you know, it's like turning people, like, it's like Chris Hemsworth, like, you know, in the first Thor movie he looked ridiculous, like, and then it's just like, as it goes on, he just turns into an actual god. Like, it's just hilarious.
He's too handsome for his own good.
I know, it's crazy. I always laugh. Imagine being Luke Hemsworth, the ugly brother.
Well, the funny thing is, apparently in Australia, they don't even like Chris the most. They like Liam the most.
Really?
He's the favorite child.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
like, apparently there's interviews with him talking about how he's been in Australia, and people are like, "Hey, aren't you Liam's brother?" And he's like, "I'm fucking Thor." What do you mean?
I'll never get over that Woody Harrelson interview where he's in some movie with Liam Hemsworth, and someone brings up his brother, and Woody Harrelson goes, "Oh," he goes, "That's your," and he's like, "Yeah," he goes, and like it just starts hitting like Hemsworth. They look alike. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god!"
Like, they look so alike. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's like, it didn't even click.
That is hilarious, dude. Oh my god. And we lost him again.
Finta still.
Got him.
He doesn't know it.
No, we got you still, Finto. This is
Yeah.
a one-way street. Watch him be like, "God, I fucking hate these
Oh,
guys."
Finta's back. Stop talking
I'm
about
here.
it.
I'm here. Could you hear
Oh,
me?
yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. That's why
Oh.
we're all gonna laugh if you're gonna be
Explain that to me. Like, I don't understand what's
I don't know.
happening. Like, you know, my bitrate drops to 0, but you guys can fucking hear me, so it's not my internet connection.
like, I literally watched you go, "Dang, lost you guys," and I was like, "Nah, you're still here."
It might be.
Shit is so frustrating, dude.
Ireland internet.
Alex was telling me he bought an external Ethernet card for his PC, popped it in because he said he was having a sort of similar issue. Popped it in, and he says he doesn't see it anymore. I'm gonna buy one of these cards. They're like $30 or something like that. I'll slap it onto the motherboard and we'll give it a go. But
I'm gonna do it too.
yeah,
Is that like an M.2?
no, it's
Ah,
just a PCI slot.
Oh, it's a PCI. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I've got about fucking 4 spare PCI slots on the computer. So
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Does it literally just give you Ethernet ports or just one port?
just one like 10 gig Ethernet port for like $25. So it's, and then like slap a Cat6 cable into that. It's the best Ethernet connection that you can pray for, you know. So I'm definitely going to try it. So fingers crossed it sorts the issue. Sorry, what were we talking about there just before that little break?
Hemsworth brothers.
Hemsworth brothers being handsome and famous.
Oh yeah.
Not that we're off topic or anything.
That's MCU all day.
True. Yeah.
When do they bring Liam in? When does he come to the MCU?
I bet they've offered him, and Thor's probably.
Could they? Like,
Freaking
they look
gatekeeping them.
so alike that it would be kind of weird if you hire a guy and he's like the spit of Thor, but he's like somebody completely different. Like, I think it
Hey,
would
we're
be
getting
funny
into
if they
multiversal variant stuff now. We could do anything.
imagine they did that. Imagine they brought like a multiversal variant of Thor in, and it's just Liam instead of Chris.
Well, like if they would have done like the old man Thor and like he's like the younger party Thor, he could have came in like that. You know?
Yeah. Imagine like Liam just like, tag me in, bro. I'm ready to go. I'll do this franchise for 10 years. You know?
Give me this money.
Yeah. Pass it on.
Yeah, it's been a slow week for the MCU though. Like there's not they didn't drop any
It's a slow month.
trailers. Yeah, they
Besides
didn't drop.
Spider-Man, like they're just riding Spider-Man.
It
I
is.
guess Eternals came out right on Disney Plus. Has anyone rewatched Eternals yet?
Yeah, I rewatched it.
No, I haven't rewatched it. I didn't even know it was out on Disney Plus. I didn't notice it.
Came out on Wednesday.
That's quick. I remember you used to have to wait months and months and months as a kid for things to come out,
Yeah.
and then now it's like 2 months.
Yeah,
It's like almost. It tempts me to not go to the theater. It's so fast, and I'm just like, why wouldn't I just wait?
they just want the box office exclusive, and then kind of once it's out of the box office and it's kind of wind it down, it's like, let's just pop it up on streaming now. Yeah.
What do you think about it second time around?
Again,
Yeah, sure.
I enjoyed the first half of the movie a lot. I was watching it in the IMAX version. It kind of annoyed me because they kept cutting between full screen and widescreen. So it's like I think like either I don't know why they do it that way, but it was like either the whole movie wasn't shot in IMAX, or they don't have all the shots available, or like mastered to 4K or something. I don't know why they're doing it like that, but it was very noticeable for me when I'm watching it, and I apologize to anybody who might be listening to this and I ruin it for them. If like, but I think if you're watching it, you'll notice it just goes full screen, widescreen, full screen, widescreen, and it's just like even as the camera pans to a different shot, it's either full screen or widescreen. It just kept changing during the movie, and I was just like, this is fucking driving me nuts. Because I really focus on stuff like that when I'm watching films. Like I love the whole filmmaking aspect of it, like, you know. So I'm watching the cameras, I'm looking out for continuity errors and all this stuff when I'm watching something. And for me, that just drove me crazy.
I'll have to check it out to see.
I hate to leave you guys early once again, but I've got a dip set. I will be watching the next 2 episodes for next week, of course, and can't wait to talk to you guys about it then. Not looking forward to Book of Boba, but we'll see.
Yeah, dude. Like
it's a marvelous chat.
I think Peacemaker might be the talking point of next week's episode.
Yeah.
You know, so that's
we need to get the Peacemaker image. Get the image ready.
How wild is that?
Yeah, we're really over Boba quick.
We're a DC podcast now.
You guys have a wonderful night. I appreciate you, and I will
later,
see
buddy.
You next week.
Take it easy. Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, like what. I don't know what to do.
It's just a slow week. Like there's nothing going on. You know, we kind of touched on, or Miss Marvel going through huge reshoots. Apparently, I think we kind of touched on that a little bit last week, but
yeah,
I've seen it all over the interwebs. Just how like everyone's so nervous about this show now. And like I don't know what to make of it. You know, is it good that there's a lot of reshoots going on? That could be a great thing.
Cool.
You know, maybe it's because they're not going to send a show out that they don't like.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what to expect from that show now, man.
Yeah, that's weird. Like the reshoots to me, always kind of scream terror because it's like you know, they had a vision, and the vision has now changed so much that they're having to bring people back to work to reshoot. You know, it's a big deal to reshoot. You know, like I think you're kind of taking the L to actually officially say, look, we need to bring everybody back. We need to shoot this shit again, or we need to change something. This doesn't work. And yeah, it feels like maybe they had a vision for the show that maybe didn't involve like Inhumans and stuff like that, and maybe now they're deciding to change it or something. I don't know why they're reshooting. But yeah, I'm like, I would be worried. Like, you know, I don't know why they're reshooting, and it's always a concern. Always.
I feel like the biggest thing they're going back for reshoots now, and I'm just pulling this from the Multiverse of Madness. It's like I feel like they saw the success of Spider-Man, and they're like, hey, and we got to get other characters to do cameos and bring them in. And I'd be willing to bet that they're bringing some MCU characters into that show because they could see the entire nonsense that everyone's been up in arms about. That in all these Disney Plus shows, there's been very, very few cameos.
Yeah.
From other people in the MCU, and they feel so isolated because of that. And that's what we're here for. And so I would expect to, you know, Captain Marvel showing up in Miss Marvel real quick. I would not be too surprised if you seen her.
Yeah, I think, and I think that, like, you know, we always say this, and I think we're 100% right, but the cameos and the connective tissue between all of these different projects is what makes us love the MCU. Like that's the whole point. It's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like the whole point of it is to connect everything together and make everything run as one seamless story. And for the last year and a half, they haven't been doing that, and it's just felt so weird. And I know they're like taking Phase 4 as being a bit of a kind of Phase 1 like reboot, like to try and, like, you know, launch a couple of new origin stories and bring new characters in and retire some of the OGs and stuff. It is going to be a bit of a strange time, but at the same time, it's like, where is Sam Wilson? Where's Bucky? Like, where's
Yep.
we know where Wanda is. Where's Vision? Where, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you put Vision into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know, he goes and finds Bucky. Where's Tone? Like, you know, maybe Vision's a bit confused. He finds Sam, and he's like, you know, where's Tony? I need to find him. Oh, Tony's dead, bro. What are you talking about? You know, and then it's like him not really getting all of his memories back in a correct order or some shit. And like, you know, like just a scene like that would have just been so powerful. Would have been so great. Like, and then, you know, maybe he just gets distraught and flies off, and you only see him for like one scene. But it's like, why wouldn't he go and find like the last Avengers? Like, you know, that's Vision's memory is being an Avenger.
Yeah, and you know, it's the classic line we hear. We didn't want to steal the spotlight from this character in their own show, and that is such small thinking, and it's the type of thinking that would have prevented the MCU from being as good as it is today. Because in no way did like us getting a cameo of Captain America in Thor in the Dark World overshadow Thor. Like it doesn't overshadow.
I literally laughed at that scene and was just like, oh, that was amazing. Like, happily that was great. You know, I didn't think, oh my god, here's Captain America. Like, you know, now I just want to see Captain America. Oh, where's Captain going? Like, you know, there was none of that. But yeah, like, you know, and like we know they cut the scenes from Doctor Strange and Wanda, and they shaved down the Kingpin scenes and Hawkeye. You know, it's definitely for some reason trying to cut back on what has made them successful, and it just makes no sense to me.
And like I don't think I ever watched Spider-Man Homecoming, and I don't think that's an Iron Man movie, and he's all over the place. I don't like that Spider-Man uses so much Stark tech in these movies. Yeah. But I don't think of those movies being a Iron Man movie and that he's overshadowing Peter in it. Like quite the contrary. Like it endears Peter Parker or Tom Holland's Peter Parker to the audience more. And like that's what you need. You need these characters that are beloved. Just kind of set up these new characters and show up and like make them feel like they're part of the family, and make them feel like they're part of the MCU and not just kind of, you know, silo it out. Like Wong maybe should have been with Shang-Chi for the entire movie. You know, maybe he should have had a larger role instead of us going back and pulling even though it was very hilarious pulling the old Mandarin into the story. Maybe Wong should have been with them for that ride over there or something, right? Like just something like that, which ties them more directly to MCU characters that are around a lot.
Yeah, and it makes more sense than at the very end of the movie, Wong coming and getting them. It's like, hey, welcome to the party. You're an Avenger now. It's like, what? You know, like, what just happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you see the thing actually? Just speaking about Eternals, they think potentially that the rings were invented by Phastos. And even in the Eternals movie, he creates rings to put around the Eternals to link them all together. So it's like, you know, obviously they've been around for 7,000 years. It's like that would be old enough, like for them to potentially be from that era or whatever, which I think is kind of crazy.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because Eternals need more tie-in than anybody, bro.
Yeah. Well, like, I don't know. Like, I think like for the second watch of that movie, I really enjoyed it for the simple fact that, you know, I knew the bad parts that were coming, and I knew to kind of expect them. So I kind of enjoyed it a little more because it was just like, yeah, okay, that's fine, whatever. And I
think that's usually right too, because like every time I go back and watch movies I thought I didn't like in the MCU, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like I've been softening on Captain Marvel every rewatch.
Yeah,
I've been softening. Like I'm like, oh, this isn't too bad. Like, you know, this is all right.
Yeah, like I always say this, like, you know, the MCU held the bar so high that like the worst movie in the MCU is still a good movie. Like, it's still a movie you could throw on and watch. Like, I'll watch Iron Man 3 and I'll enjoy it. It's one of the worst MCU movies, but I'll still enjoy it. It's still a good movie, you know. So like, it's like they're it's their own success that's holding them back sometimes, you know. Like, so yeah, like, you know, you can't be hitting bangers every single time. You know, the bad movies will happen. And
I agree, and I think that's why Eternals got so much hate. Where I'm like, this is not like as bad as people think it is, bro. Like, this is a pretty great movie, and people were rating it worse than Venom. There Will Be Carnage. I'm like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. Like, Venom,
you're out of your minds.
Venom was awful. And if I hadn't have paid as much money as I did, like for all my tickets and my food and everything to go see that movie, I probably would have walked out. Like, if I was just sitting there watching that movie and had nothing, like no stakes in it, I would have stood up and left. You know,
Yeah.
Especially because the movie came out 15 days after the release in the US, and I knew everything that happened in it anyway. I was just going to see it to not break my streak.
Yeah.
But I think I would have just stood up and walked away. But I was just like, fuck this, you know. This has cost me $60. Like I'm gonna stay here and enjoy it. Like fuck it, I'll enjoy my food anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
What? Yeah, I don't know. Like, do you have any predictions? I don't know if I've asked you this. Like, do you have any actual predictions for like what you think might happen or what you would like to see happen in Boba for the last couple of episodes?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of see Boba Fett dying into this as like a way to close out the character, like the Book of Boba, and close it out with him. I totally see them doing that. Other than that, like, I don't know what they can do. The show feels so small right now that shoehorning any more characters onto Tatooine just feels weird, right? Like, why would Ahsoka show up to Tatooine? Why would Luke show up to Tatooine? Like, does he have anything to do there anymore? You know, he has Grogu now. He doesn't. Does he really have to go back there? I don't know anything that can happen with this. Them having Han Solo show up, I like might be a stretch. But I could totally see them having his old girlfriend show up in this.
Kira,
we know Amelia Clark is, she's already, you know, down for Secret Invasion. She's down for TV. She's a TV star.
Yeah.
And
And Crimson Dawn, I think, were they mentioned in one of the episodes? I think someone mentioned Crimson or something in one of the episodes, and so I wouldn't be surprised if she's now running Crimson because what's his name? Darth Maul is dead.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't surprise me, and I think that might make sense. I think you're right. How does Luke go back, or why does Luke go back to Tatooine? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Oh shit! I left something in my uncle and aunt's house that's like a ball of rubble now. It's like, oh, I better go back and get it.
Like maybe he shows up at like Ben Kenobi's old house to get something, and then that ties it into Obi-Wan. That we'll see what him leaving something there. Like that could be a thing.
Well, I know
that would be cool.
I know in Legends, and again, I don't know if they're going to do this. I really hope they do, though. But in Legends, what happens after? So you know the way when Luke loses his hand during Empire, after he loses his lightsaber, he goes back to Tatooine, and he goes to Ben's house. And in Ben's house, he finds one of his old journals, and in that journal, Kenobi talks about how he constructed his lightsaber, and basically Luke uses that to teach himself how to build a lightsaber, and that's why Luke's lightsaber is pretty much identical to Obi-Wan's last lightsaber, which I thought was a really sweet like detail, because no one, like Luke, when Obi-Wan dies, like no one is there to teach him to make a lightsaber, so it's like he goes back, finds the journals, teaches himself. It's amazing, like, you know. So I'd love to see something like that. But if they're gonna be like close to the content or to Legends, I know they're like maybe not trying to be too close to it, but you know, Thrawn is coming, so he's a Legends character, so maybe they will kind of keep some of the Legends stuff. But if they're following Legends, he wouldn't be coming back to Obi-Wan's because he's already been there, you know. So
right,
I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just don't know what they got. I don't feel like they've opened up enough interesting or compelling storylines in this show to really make predictions about who like can come in from outside.
Yeah.
Right, because like in Mandalorian, you could kind of see like who could show up. Right, like you'd be like, oh yeah, they'd be showing up on this planet like this. That could happen. Bo-Katan could come around this part to do something.
Yeah.
This is like nothing. Like, or if there is, that's like deeper lore than I go, like way deeper, because Tatooine is just such a desolate shit of a planet.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the show. Man.
Like the only reason why he would be there is to pass through. So it's like,
yeah.
Why are people going to be there? Like, why? The only way I could logically see Han maybe showing up would be if Kira comes and like Crimson Dawn and stuff like that happens, and then maybe Han hears about it and he shows up, because it's like, oh, I haven't seen her in so long, and she's like running a crime family now or whatever. That like, could be the only way I see that. I could see Han Solo showing up, but that's a stretch as well. Like,
and I don't think that they're dealing with like the fallout of the Empire falling apart too well in this. I know we're in the outer rims and Tatooine isn't like too affected by it, but like we saw the stormtroopers helmets on pikes or whatever, and I feel like that should be a stronger point of the storyline and like why the crime syndicates are getting so shook up. Like it's not just Jabba the Hutt being killed.
Yeah.
Like the Empire fell apart, and so now there's tons of crime available to be done, and there's no one policing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could have used that as a great inroad to have Boba Fett play off of it. Maybe he does want to be someone who wants to bring order to it because he doesn't like disorder. Like I don't know. This show's so weird, bro. It feels like there's so much opportunity that's just not
Cool.
that's like waiting to come down the line, and maybe when you go back and watch, it's going to be good because of that.
Yeah.
But so far, it's like I feel like I'm just left out to dry.
Yeah, dude, it's
Cool.
it's a
Cool,
big
cool.
it's a big fucking struggle. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
Not a fan.
No. Do we have any other news from the week, or
I think we're light, bro. It's just
Yeah,
a light
it is
light podcast week.
To be fair, I've been recording this podcast for an hour and 40 minutes, so we did quite well for a light week. Yeah, we did quite well. So yeah, I think we can call it quits there for the week. Next week,
Cool.
we got Boba 4, and we'll have episodes 2, 3, and 4 of Peacemaker. So
Okay.
good bit of DC content, bit of Star Wars content, and I'll keep my ear to the ground. To be honest, there was I heard a couple of leaks and rumors about fucking Doctor Strange 2 and stuff like that, but I don't even really want to talk about them because they're just so out there that I just don't even want to bring them up. Because if they're not real, if they're not true, it's just kind of wasting time, I suppose.
Sure.
Yeah, cool. All right, dude. Thank you for being here as always.
Hey, great podcast. Great marvelous chat.
A marvelous chat indeed. See you later. Bye.
Later.
Bye-bye.